What if I told you the difference between your current life and the life you dream of is hidden in the first hour of your morning? What if the door you've been knocking on for years, the promotion, the confidence, the body you promised yourself, the peace you crave, has always had the same key? And that key turns when the sun is still deciding whether to rise? Listen to me closely, because by the end of this message, you won't just want to wake up early, you'll feel it in your bones, you'll hear your future whispering, "Get up," and for once, you'll answer. Think about it. The world's most successful people, athletes who carve stone out of sweat, leaders who carry entire companies on their backs, artists who paint with lightning, share one habit that sounds simple, almost boring. They wake up early, not because it looks cool on a podcast, not because it's trendy, but because the first hour of the day is sacred. It's unclaimed ground. It's where distraction can't find you, where excuses are still asleep, where your highest self is loud enough to be heard. If you own that hour, you don't just win the morning. You set the trajectory of your entire life. Right now, you might be trapped in a loop. Snooze, scroll, rush, apologize for being late, promise yourself you'll do better tomorrow, then repeat. Your morning is a battlefield you keep losing before you've even laced your boots. You say, "I'm not a morning person," like it's your last name. But what if that's not a fact, just a story? And what if that story is costing you years? Close your eyes for a second and picture two versions of the same day. In the first, your alarm slices through your sleep and you stab the snooze button because the bed is warm and your dreams are sweeter than reality. 10 minutes, then 10 more, then panic. You scroll to numb the guilt. You sprint through the shower, swallow coffee like medicine, wear stress like a shirt you can't take off, and hit the world already behind. You start reactive, and you never catch up. In the second version, your alarm sings, and you rise. The room is cool, the air honest, the world quiet. You drink water and feel your cells wake like lights in a city. You stretch the stiffness out of yesterday. You move your body, or you sit in stillness and breathe. You write what matters. You design your day before the day designs you. When the sun finally shows up, you've already met yourself. You've already chosen who you'll be. One morning, two paths, two destinies. Which one is yours? Here's the truth that will change everything. Mornings are momentum. The first hour carries the weight of the next 23. The first choices become the anchor for the rest. And momentum doesn't care if it's pointed in the right direction or the wrong one. It just obeys. That's why your late morning chaos bleeds into late replies, late progress, late dreams. And that's why early calm becomes focused action, becomes consistent wins, becomes identity. You stop trying to be disciplined. You become the kind of person who shows up before the day can push you around. Let's step into the science for a moment, not to bore you, but to free you. Your brain has a prime time. Early morning, before the notifications, before the noise, your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, focuses, makes decisions, hasn't been hijacked yet. You are clear. Your willpower is a battery. It's fullest when you wake, and it drains as you face decision after decision. Use that early charge on what matters, and watch how your toughest tasks become light enough to lift. And dopamine, the molecule of motivation, responds to novelty, progress, and meaningful action. When you stack a few simple wins before sunrise, you reward your brain with a clean, lasting hit of keep going. Not the jittery rush from doom scrolling, the steady fire from living on purpose. Your hormones are on your side too. There's a natural cortisol awakening response that, when you wake consistently, gives you a gentle lift, not the anxious spike you feel when you bolt upright late. Light hitting your eyes early helps reset your internal clock, stabilizing energy, mood, sleep. Translation: when you respect the morning respects you back. You stop fighting your biology. You start flowing with it. Have you noticed how calm the world feels when you're awake before it? Streets look softer. The sky keeps its promises. Even the refrigerator hum sounds like a friend. That quiet isn't empty. It's full. It's full of choices you never make at noon. It's full of thoughts that only visit when you're silent enough to hear them. It's full of gratitude, not the forced kind, but the I'm alive and I get another shot kind. When you wake early, you enter a private sanctuary where life slows down just enough for you to shape it. So why don't more people do it? Because the bed is an expert negotiator. Because staying up late gives us the illusion of freedom after a long day. Because our phones seduce us into 1,000 tiny midnights. Because we've mistaken comfort for self-care. And we're paying for it with our future. The phrase, "I'm not a morning person," becomes a shield we hide behind. But shields get heavy. Put it down. You weren't born a morning person or a night person. You were born adaptable. Your body has rhythms, yes, but your identity is trainable. The same brain that learned to check notifications every 5 minutes can learn to rise when it's time to rise. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who kept promising himself that next month he'd change. Nights were his escape, gaming, shows, endless scrolling. Mornings were ransom notes written by yesterday's decisions. He showed up late to his own life, work, dreams, relationships. When he finally looked back, he realized years had blurred by. He wasn't lazy, he was lost. One night he placed his phone across the room and an old-fashioned alarm beside a journal. The next morning, he got up. It was ugly. He was groggy, clumsy, annoyed. But he drank water. He wrote one sentence, "Today, I start." He walked outside with bed hair and let the blue of the morning touch his eyes. He felt ridiculous. He did it again the next day and the next. He started reading 15 minutes before dawn. 30 days later, he wasn't productive. He was proud. 6 months later, he wasn't trying to be early. He was an early riser. A year later, he didn't recognize the man in the mirror. The job changed. The body changed. The voice in his head changed. Not because of some viral hack, but because one morning, he decided that his alarm meant something. There's a hidden cost to late mornings no one wants to talk about. Not just stress or missed buses, but missed moments. The conversation with your kid you never had because you were rushing. The idea you might have written if you had sat with coffee and listened to your mind. The workout that would have added 10 healthy years to your life. The habit of being late becomes the identity of being late, and identity writes your destiny. Now look at those who rise while the world sleeps. They are not heroes in capes. They are humans with a plan. Apple's Tim Cook starts his day in the quiet hours, tackling the important while others dream. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson meets the iron while the sky is still ink, because he knows that when the sun shows up, the world will have 1,000 demands. So he makes his progress non-negotiable. Robin Sharma calls it the 5 a.m. club, not because 5 a.m. is magical, but because early is a statement. I go first. Before the world can take from me, I give to me. When the world sleeps, they build their future. Brick by brick, breath by breath. You don't have to wake at 4:30 or perform at a superstar level. You only have to take ownership. Early rising is not a badge, it's a blueprint. It says, I choose intention over impulse, purpose over procrastination, self-respect over self-sabotage. And when you choose that often enough, the world stops calling you lucky. It calls you inevitable. But let's be honest, you won't flip a switch and love it on day one. The snooze button will sing your name like a siren. Your pillow will make incredible arguments. Your brain will tell you, 5 minutes won't matter. That is the voice of the old life trying to survive. You will not negotiate with it. You will prepare for it. Tonight, you set the stage. You dim the lights and stop feeding your brain blue fire an hour before bed. You treat sleep like the performance it is, the rehearsal for tomorrow's greatness. You decide when tomorrow begins. Tonight. The psychology is simple but profound. The self you admire is born in the micro moments where you act against your comfort. Waking early is a daily rehearsal of courage. It's a reminder that your feelings don't run the show, your values do. Every time you rise when you said you would, you deposit proof into the bank account of your identity, and identity compounds. I wake when I say I will becomes I keep promises to myself, becomes I am disciplined, becomes I trust me. When you trust you, there is nothing you won't try, and that is when life opens. Still, many fail because they try to brute force a new morning onto an old night. They drag midnight into 5 a.m. and expect magic. It doesn't work. You don't wake up early to be tired but proud. You wake up early to be present and powerful. That means guarding your evenings like a temple. That means telling your future, I'll meet you at dawn, and then behaving like you mean it. It means treating your phone like a tool, not a babysitter for your boredom. Another reason people fail, they expect motivation to knock. They wait to feel like it. But motivation is a guest who arrives after you start. The first week, your body will protest. The second week, it will bargain. By week 3, if you treat your nights and mornings with respect, your body will begin to trust you. Energy returns, mood stabilizes, clarity sharpens. You don't just have early mornings anymore. Your early mornings have you. Now, imagine this. You wake at 5, not because a guru told you to, but because you are training your identity. You sit at the edge of the bed and put your feet on the floor. This is the first victory. You stand. Second victory. You drink water and feel it move through you like a river over stones. Third victory, you stretch a body that carried you through yesterday's battles. Fourth victory, you move. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 30, but you move. Fifth victory, you write, what am I grateful for? What matters today? Who do I refuse to disappoint, my future self or my fear? You open a book and eat a page of wisdom. You plan your day so that your hours reflect your values. By the time the sun peeks in, you have stacked more wins than most people collect by lunch. This is not discipline for discipline's sake. This is self-respect in action. Let me speak to the person who says, but I tried and I failed. Good, you tried. That means there is life in you. Failure isn't a verdict. It's a voice memo from your future saying, adjust the plan. Maybe you jump from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. overnight. That's a cliff, not a staircase. Start with 15 minutes earlier for a week, then another 15. You are not proving anything to Instagram. You are building a sustainable rhythm for you. Maybe your nights are full of noise and obligations. Fine. Control what you can control. 10 minutes of stillness, 5 minutes of gratitude, a glass of water, a promise kept. Tiny hinges swing big doors. There's another trap, turning your early morning into a second internet. You wake early and then scroll. Dopamine without direction. You waste the most precious silence on other people's noise. Don't do that to yourself. Wake early to meet your life, not to run from it. Wake early to grow, to move, to think, to decide, to heal, to create. If your first hour is a feast of meaning, your day will not hunger for purpose. And when excuses come, and they will, talk back. I'm not a morning person becomes I am becoming a morning person. I slept badly becomes I'll do my best with the energy I have and protect tonight. I don't have time becomes I make time by rising when the world sleeps. The story you tell is the life you live. Change the story. Change the life. There's a moment you will feel if you do this consistently, a sunrise inside. You will notice yourself calmer in traffic, kinder at breakfast, sharper in meetings, more present with the people who love you. You'll stop chasing time like a thief and start inviting it like a guest. The early morning doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your soul. Picture this with me, vivid, cinematic, real. Your alarm glows in the darkness. You breathe in slow. You press stop, not snooze, and swing your feet to the floor. The house is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like a prayer. You walk to the kitchen and the water is cold and honest. You light a candle or open a window, letting the air tell you a secret. Today is unbroken. You stretch, hearing the gentle creak and gratitude of your body, this miracle you live in. You move. Push-ups on a mat, a jog on a silent street, a dance in your living room with no audience but your becoming. Your heart warms like a small sun. You sit and write 3 lines about what you love, 1 about what you will do, 1 promise to your future. You read a paragraph that reminds you you're not alone in wanting more. You plan, not 100 tasks, but the vital few that make your day proud. And when the world finally wakes, you are already you. If you've ever met someone at peace with themselves, ask them about their mornings. They may not rise at 5, but they rise with intention. That's the secret. Morning isn't a time. Morning is a decision. It is a decision to meet your life before you meet your notifications. It is a decision to hear your own voice before you hear the world's. It is a decision to set your mind like a compass, so that when the day's storms arrive, and they always do, you know where north is. Let's talk long term. Because this isn't a 30-day challenge. This is a life you're building. Consistent early mornings build a self-concept that is unstoppable. I am the kind of person who becomes the most powerful sentence in your vocabulary. I am the kind of person who gets up when it's time. I am the kind of person who feeds my mind. I am the kind of person who shows up for my body. I am the kind of person who designs my day. When your identity shifts, your habits don't feel like chores anymore. They feel like honesty. Career? Early mornings give you time to move the needle on deep work before shallow work floods in. Health? Early movement compounds into energy you didn't know you had. Mental peace? Morning stillness teaches you to be the calm in your own storm. Relationships? When you are grounded, you listen better. You fight less, you're present. You pour from a full cup. Imagine being that person for a decade. Imagine looking back 10 years from now and tracing every meaningful change to the moment you decided to greet the dawn. Now, you might feel the heat building inside you. Good, that's your future warming up. It's time to get tactical, because inspiration without implementation is just a nice feeling. We will construct a simple, elegant, powerful morning blueprint you can start tomorrow. Not a prison, a pathway, not a rigid script, a rhythm. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to stack small, meaningful wins until winning becomes who you are. So here's how your next dawn can look. Not perfect, but yours. Tonight, you set your intention. You protect the hour before bed like it's sacred. You charge your phone across the room. You write down a bedtime that respects an early alarm. You choose a wake time that stretches you but doesn't break you. You lay out water, a pen, a page, shoes, or a mat. You script the first 10 minutes so there is zero debate. You drift to sleep knowing tomorrow isn't a mystery. It's a meeting you've scheduled with your future. And then, the alarm. It will feel early because it is. You'll want to bargain. Don't. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stand. The floor is victory. The water is victory. The stretch is victory. The movement is victory. The page is victory. The plan is victory. 6 wins in the first 30 minutes. You're not perfect, you're present. That's enough to change everything. You do not need 2 hours. You need intent. If you only have 20 minutes, devote them entirely to yourself. If you only have 10, spend them in stillness and gratitude rather than noise. If you only have 5, breathe and say out loud, I will show up for me. This is how empires are built, one honest brick at a time. Don't underestimate the power of light. Step outside if you can and let the morning touch your eyes. Feel the air, cool, gentle, bracing, telling your biology that it's day. You're teaching your body to trust you. You're teaching your mind to follow your lead. You're teaching your life to move when you move. And when you slip, and you will, don't throw the whole identity away because of one day. One late morning does not erase a month of early ones. You wouldn't slash the other 3 tires because one went flat. You repair, you recommit, you remember who you're becoming. You speak to yourself with respect. You get back up because that's what early risers do. They rise. There will be people who roll their eyes at this. They'll say, it's just waking up early. But you and I know better. It's not about the clock. It's about character. It's about who calls the shots in your life, you or your comfort. It's about the difference between hoping and habitually moving. It's about building a life where you trust your own word, and that is priceless. So, tomorrow morning, when the alarm glows and the voice of your old life whispers later, you will remember this moment. You will remember that your future is calling. You will remember that promises to yourself are sacred, and you will rise, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Now we build the exact rhythm. Hydration, movement, stillness, learning, and planning. Woven into a single thread you can pull every morning until the day obeys your intention. The steps are simple, but their impact is seismic. As you practice, they will become as natural as breathing. First, you'll hydrate and let your body wake from the inside out. Then you'll open the body with gentle stretches or a few minutes of movement to tell your nervous system, we are safe, we are strong, we are starting. You'll claim 5 honest minutes for your mind, breathing, prayer, meditation, silence that deposits gold into your attention. You'll feed your spirit with a page or 2 of something wiser than yesterday's algorithm. And you'll script your day in ink, not in your head, because clarity hates vagueness and confidence loves a plan. You'll leave that first hour feeling like a solid tree, rooted, unshakable, ready. We're going deeper now, into the details that make this stick when life gets loud, into alarms across the room, into wind-down rituals that actually work, into the art of beating the snooze without beating yourself up, into the story of an ordinary person who used ordinary mornings to build an extraordinary life. Stay with me, because this is where your ritual becomes your rocket. Into the tiny choices that look insignificant in the moment, but decide everything by noon. Tonight is where victory actually begins. Because the truth is simple, the morning you want is built the night before. You don't stumble into a powerful dawn, you script it. You stage the scene like a director who cares about the performance. Dimmer lights, slower breathing, a room that whispers rest instead of screaming scroll. You make your bed a boundary, not a boardroom. You treat your pillow like a promise, not a negotiation. And you give your future self gifts, little cues that say, I've got you. Shoes by the door, water on the counter, journal open to a blank page with a pen waiting like destiny. A note to self that simply says, see you at dawn. Alarms across the room work not because they are loud, but because they force a decision. You can't slap a button in your sleep when you're already standing. That first step out of bed is the most important rep of your day. It's the rep where you lift yourself. It's the rep where you tell your brain, we move when we say we move. Put the alarm where your feet must find the floor to silence it. Make the journey small but sacred. Say your name out loud. Feel your voice cut through the fog. This is you, choosing you. The wind down ritual doesn't have to be fancy. It has to be honest. You shut down bright screens at least an hour before sleep, not because a guru said so, but because your nervous system is not a slot machine. You lower the volume on the world so your inner world can settle. Perhaps you read a page of something that feeds your becoming. Perhaps you write down tomorrow's top 3 priorities so your mind doesn't try to solve your life at 2 a.m. Perhaps you take a warm shower to signal to your body that the day is done. You treat sleep like fuel because that's what it is. You are not weak for needing it. You are wise for honoring it. Beating the snooze is less about discipline and more about design. You create a no-thought runway for the first 10 minutes of the morning. It begins the night before. Clothes laid out, mat on the floor, a simple sequence that never changes. Feet down, drink water, stretch arms to the ceiling, step outside or to a window. 3 deep breaths with eyes to the horizon, 1 sentence in your journal, 1 minute of movement. There is no debate because there are no decisions. Decision fatigue is the enemy. Ritual is the ally. You might think, but my nights are chaos. Kids, work, noise. I hear you. The goal is not perfection. The goal is ownership. Maybe your early morning is 20 minutes instead of 60. Fine, make it yours. Protect it like a jewel. You can put your phone to sleep in another room so late night you doesn't sabotage early morning you. You can create a small island of quiet even in a crowded life. If you have a newborn or shift work, your early may be different on the clock, but the principle is the same. Meet your life before the world meets you. Find the first honest space and make it sacred. Let's craft the anatomy of a morning that turns into a life. Hydration is the soft starting pistol. Water touches your lips and you feel your cells wake, like windows opening in a house. Then you stretch, not to become an athlete in 5 minutes, but to say thank you to the body that carried you here. Arms reach, spine lengthens, neck softens. You inhabit yourself again. Movement follows. Maybe it's a brisk walk through a quiet street, shoes tapping a steady rhythm. Maybe it's body weight circuits that remind your heart it's a warrior and not just a courier for your anxieties. Maybe it's stillness, a chair, a cushion, your breath like the tide. It's not about intensity, it's about intention. And then the page. Don't underestimate ink. Words turn fog into form. You can ask 3 questions that change everything. What am I grateful for? What will make today proud? Who needs my best energy? Gratitude keeps you humble and hungry. Clarity sets your compass. Love reminds you why any of this matters. If you can't write a page, write a line. If you can't write a line, write a word. Forward. Learning in the morning is a keystone you won't see until you stack it. 10 minutes with a book will outcompete an hour of random reels because the page is a mentor and the feed is a casino. Feed your mind with something time-tested, something that has weight. Wisdom settles into your bones when you absorb it in the quiet. That 1 paragraph might be the sentence that steers your entire day. And planning is how you aim, not 100 tasks. A handful of vital moves that, if done, make the day a win. When you close that notebook, you aren't guessing anymore. You are going. There's a special kind of confidence that comes from seeing sunlight before emails. Early light is medicine. Step outside and let the morning put its hand on your shoulder. Sky, breath, sound of a distant bird. You're aligning your circadian rhythm without reading a single study. You're letting your biology work for you. You will feel the difference by lunch. You will feel more awake when other people are yawning and more calm when other people are snapping. This is not magic. It's mechanics. Live in rhythm and life stops fighting you. Okay, you say, but what about coffee? Coffee is a friend when treated with respect. Give your natural wake system a chance to do its work before the caffeine parade. Delay it a little. Drink water first. Move first. Then, if you choose, invite coffee to the meeting. The point isn't rules. The point is awareness. Know why you do what you do. When you choose on purpose, your choices compound with power. What about breakfast? Feed for focus, not just for fullness. If you've been sluggish mid-morning, notice how different foods make you feel. Experiment. Protein that keeps you steady. Fruit that lifts without crashing. Or perhaps you train fasted and fuel afterward. Again, the point is ownership, not dogma. The most powerful diet is the one that lets you keep your promises. You will face setbacks. Travel will punch holes in your rhythm. Late nights will happen. Illness will visit. Children will need you at 3 a.m. Remember this: the habit is not broken by a broken day. The habit is defined by your next day. You will rebuild. You will forgive yourself fast and recommit faster. You will not use one late morning as evidence that this isn't for you. That's an old story dressed as logic. Your new story is sturdier. I return, I rise. I promised you the story of an ordinary person who turned mornings into miracles. Her name was Maya. She worked 2 jobs and believed for years that early rising was a luxury for people with quiet lives. Nights were the only time she felt like the world wasn't demanding something from her. She wore exhaustion like a necklace, heavy but familiar. One day, after a tough conversation with her younger brother, she realized she was constantly offering people a version of herself running on fumes. She decided to give the first 20 minutes of the day back to herself. Not 2 hours, 20 minutes. She set her phone to charge in the kitchen. She wrote a sticky note that said, "Maya, you deserve your own attention," and placed it on her nightstand. The first morning was messy. She sat on the floor, sipped water, cried a little from the sheer unfamiliarity of silence, and wrote 3 sentences. The second week, she added a walk. The third, a few pages of a book about boundaries. She felt ridiculous sometimes, but her days shifted. She started saying no without apologizing. She began training for a 5K in the quiet hours. She laughed more. She felt like she was meeting herself for the first time. At dawn. A year later, she told me, "I changed my life without moving cities or quitting my job. I just decided to meet my life earlier." That's the power you're playing with. Let's settle the myth that some people are born morning royalty and others are doomed to midnight. Yes, chronotypes exist. Yes, your body has preferences, but identity is louder than preference. If your life would be better with earlier mornings, and you know it, then gently train your rhythm. Move your bedtime 15 minutes earlier every few nights. Anchor your wake time with light, movement, and meaning. If your work is truly nocturnal, then early just means the first quiet hour after sleep. The principle holds. Intentionally meet your life before the world meets you. Some of you carry sleep debt like a shadow. You've been fighting your days with half a battery and then blaming your character. Let's end that war. For 2 weeks, treat sleep like medicine. Give yourself time in bed that matches your actual need. Most adults are not heroes on 5 hours. They're hostages. Darken your room. Cool the air. Remove the glowing altar from your nightstand. If you share your bed with a screen, you're sharing your morning with chaos. Choose yourself. Choose silence. Weekends are where many good habits go to drown. Here's a secret. You don't have to wake at the exact same minute on Saturday, but don't toss your identity in the hamper with your Friday shirt. Keep a gentler version of your ritual. Wake within a reasonable window. Keep the first 15 minutes sacred. This is not punishment. This is freedom. Monday will thank you. Your mood will thank you. Your relationships will thank you because you will show up as the same person across the week, consistent, grounded, trustworthy. What about family? Invite them into the story without making them characters in your guilt. You're not better than anyone for rising early. You're simply choosing a path that makes you more you. Sometimes your partner will want to stay up late with a show. Sometimes your little one will climb into your lap at 5:12 a.m. There will be mornings of cartoons instead of meditation, cereal instead of reading. Love is not the enemy of discipline. It's the reason for it. Smile, adapt, return tomorrow. When your kids see you greet the day with intention, you are teaching them the most powerful lesson, self-leadership. Now I want to guide you through a visualization that can become your personal doorway to dawn. Sit tall or stand with your feet grounded. Breathe in slowly, 4 counts in, 6 counts out. Feel your shoulders soften. See your room in the soft pre-dawn. Hear the quiet, no cars, no pings, just the hum of an early universe. Your alarm glows like a lighthouse. You press stop, not snooze. Your feet meet the floor and the earth thanks you for keeping your promise. You drink water and imagine it carrying light through your body, washing yesterday out of your cells. You stretch, spine long, lungs wide, eyes soft. You step to a window and the sky is a blue that only exists before crowds. A bird's silhouette slides across the edge of the morning. You smile because you arrived in time to see it. You sit with your journal and write 3 lines. I am grateful for. Today will feel proud when I carry love to. You move. Maybe the rhythm of feet on pavement, maybe quiet strength on a mat. You sweat a little, not to punish yourself, to wake your power. You read a page that puts steel in your backbone and softness in your eyes. You choose 3 moves for the day that matter more than everything else. You close your notebook and you feel it, a sunrise inside. You are ready, you are ahead, you are calm, you are you. Doesn't that feel like a life you want to live? Not because it's glamorous, but because it's yours. Early morning is a declaration, I will not abandon me. When you honor it, the benefits stretch beyond productivity. Your nervous system learns safety. Anxiety stops running your calendar. You stop reacting to every headline like it's a fire. You become the person the room looks to when the room is shaking. Peace is not an accident. It's a practice. Professionally, the compounding is wild. Those first 90 minutes of deep work before the world arrives can do more for your career than 9 scattered hours. That proposal you've avoided because it always gets interrupted, it bows to an early block. That skill you promised to learn